يا عباد الله هبوا ونداء الحق لبوا فاعبدوه مخلصين.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Our esteemed viewers, once again, welcome to Stories of Devotion. Today, we have Sheikh Sulaiman Byomuhangi. Sheikh Sulaiman Byomuhangi is a serving missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, and he has served in various parts of the country. And it is from his stories of devotion that we are going to learn today. Sheikh Sab, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As a convert from Christianity into Islam Ahmadiyyat, our viewers would like to know how that came about.
Thank you for the question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Once again, dear viewers, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Indeed, it was a great task which I was involved in from my childhood to search for the truth when it comes to religious matters. I was born a Catholic from a very strong Catholic family and in a staunch Catholic area of Western Uganda. So I grew up a good Catholic. Our dad, though, he had 2 wives, which is prohibited in Catholicism, but he was strong in letting us go to church every Sunday. I was a member of Sunday school. I was a member of the altar boys who do the service with the priests in the church. I know everything. I did my catechism, so I was confirmed by the bishop. I grew up a good Catholic, really, a good Christian. Yeah. So after...
At what point in time did you become interested into Islam and Ahmadiyyat?
In P7, you choose, because I was in a Catholic primary school yet, so you choose either to be a priest, to go to seminary, or to join direct secondary. So as I was an altar boy who was serving in the church already, I was interested in being a priest. I would like the clothing of the priests, the father's garments, the whole system, how the services are done. It was really good for me, and I had that interest of searching for God, because even in primary, I used to read Bible. My father has his Bible, which stayed on his stool beside his bed. So I could get it from there, and I search and I search. I read the verses, I read whatever. The Catholics have a diary of the verses which are going to be used when preaching. So I used it for the Bible. So when I tried to get that chance of becoming a missionary, Catholic missionary, a father to join seminary, they said, you see, your father has 2 wives, so you can't become a father, you can't join seminary. So that chance collapsed. Okay. Yeah, so I diverted and I filled the forms for secondary schools, of which the finance was not that sufficient, and I went to a vocational school.
Okay. Now, how did you turn from a Catholic into Ahmadi?
No. So when I was in a P6 learning that Catholic system of confirmation, I had been reading through the Bible, and I came across a verse about creation in Genesis, when God created man. And in chapter 4, I came across a verse when God was creating Adam. At first, he created a man. And the second phase, he created Adam. So that Adam, Allah created for him a wife, whom they bear 2 children, Cain and Abel. One child killed a brother due to some inconveniences in sacrificial issues according to how they used to do their business, digging, cattle grazing, and whatever, as the scripture says. So from there, God got angry with Cain, who killed Abel, and said that you are cursed. Wherever you will go, you will be killed. There my question came first. Where were those people who were going to kill him? Because the Bible says there are three people on now, father, mother, and the son. Who will kill him? So I went ahead reading. I found where he asked God to allow him move so that whoever sees him would not kill him. And he went to Enod and married a wife. So my questions now became two. Were there any other people on earth? When I asked a catechist who was teaching us in order to become confirmed, he asked me, why were you searching all those? So he didn't explain to me. They didn't give me the answer. He ordered me to always listen to the evangelical when the father is giving, and that is the end. No questioning, no what.
So I want to go to that point, converted now.
From there, when I joined vocational secondary school, it was a Protestant-founded vocational school. In vocational, you study Satura and skills, technical work. So I was studying Satura and technical work, building and construction. So because I was following a Bible, they had a Bible Studies Association. I joined it. In the same manner, I asked the same question. Who were going to kill Cain? And where did he get a wife? The reverend, who was a chaplain from the Protestant church, told me that he has no answer for that question, but he will do the research, which he didn't. When I finished senior 4 after my O-level, it was in 1994, I went back for holidays. I went to work as I had a technical work. When I came back, I found my brothers in 1995 have joined Islam. Jamaat Ahmadi has sent a mualimu in our particular place in the village, deep down in the village. So that mualimu was there. So my younger brothers, 2 of them, had joined him in Islam, and he used to love them very much. So when I came, they told me, you see, we are Muslims. I asked them, how? So the mualimu is there, he's staying there.
And they are your young brothers?
My younger brothers. I told them, take me there. They took me there. I chatted with the mualimu. He was a good friend, a good man, good talking man. We became friends. So after several days, after I got familiar with him, I asked him the same question. I narrated to him my story. How did I read the Bible and what did I find? And what is still confusing me? How comes that if Adam was one, he got a wife who was created from his limbs. They got 2 children. One killed another one. But in the curse, God said that you will be killed by whoever sees you. Who were to kill him? That Cain. Again, God went ahead to say that that man, Cain, got a wife from Enod, who bore that girl whom that Cain married. So here, that mualimu told me to bring the Bible. He didn't use his. I went back. Tomorrow I came with my father's Bible. I packed it and I came with it. So he used the same Bible to show me. It's when I first realized that Adam, the first man to be created, was not Adam, the prophet that we talk about today. She showed me through the Bible. The Quran came later. It's when I realized that Adam, the first to be created, was not the first prophet. And that was my first experience of accepting that Islam is real, a true religion. And
it was your curiosity that drove you from Christianity into Islam.
Exactly.
Now, after becoming an Ahmadi Muslim, what drove you into the missionary field?
I believe it was Allah's plan, because it was in Ramadan of 1995, which was in December, and a missionary who was then in Mbarara zone, because that area was under Mbarara zone, visited his muwalimu deep down in the village at the border of Rwanda, Uganda. That's where I am born. So when he came, He was called Sheikh Muzaffar Bajwa. My Mwalimu introduced him to me as a new Mubayin now. So when we chatted, I knew English very well. So we discussed. He found some points when I was discussing with him, and I asked him some questions. He could answer my questions. So he introduced to me that, you see, you are learned enough. You can join our missionary field. I asked him, what do you mean when you talk about missionary field? He told me about being a Muslim preacher who can be a preacher and can teach others. And in my mind is when I converted to Islam, I have that idea of learning my faith in order to be well versed with what I believe in, because I was to be challenged. And I was good at that because that Mu'alimu gave me Surah Al-Fatiha and the alphabetical order of the Arabic letters, which I did in one day and complete them. Surah Al-Fatiha and the alphabetical order, Alif, Be, Re, The. So my Mu'alimu also told me that, oh, you can do it. Okay. I said, yes, I can. And I feel that I have to, if I have a chance to serve God, I can do it. So they told me that then if you can, because I had finished my bayat, write an application. I wrote an application and the zonal missionary took it. So from there, we migrated from that place. My daddy decided to shift from that place to another place, which is very far. And when I was going, I asked daddy for the address and left it with Mualimu in the village. So when the missionary came again looking for me, he found I have shifted. So he brought that address and sent it to Kampala, that if you can manage to look for this boy, he was interested in joining Jamia, his forms are there and whatever. So Jamaat, Amir Sahib sent the area missionary who was of that side again. The side there was no Jamaat, no Muslims there, but from a far distance they rode bicycle to a sheikh and a mualim to look for me, tracking where I was. So they come and find me. So that's why I say that Allah had that plan. Look, to shift from Kabale to Bunyoro. And in the same way, Jamaat tried to track for me where I was. And they found me. When they found me, we again talked about those issues. We had to be with them. I took them through some Muslim villages, people who were in the village, a few of them, because there was a war. Mostly the Muslims had misunderstandings with the government, and there was a war in those particular years in 96. So there was a big problem with the Muslims. They were to be in hidings and whatever. So when those people came, I took them to every home of Muslims. There were like only 5 Muslim families remaining who were not involved in the war. Others left for them. So I introduced them to those people. But for me, I had not yet become a good Muslim, as you know. In the family, my small younger boys, we are also young. So when they came, it's when we had to pray with them.
So after these missionaries finding you, how did you find your way into Jamia? And tell us about Jamia life.
So when they came with an admission letter. That you see, you were admitted to join the Jamia as you had applied. I said yes. But I have now got another chance. My dad has already applied secured a place for me to go to Kabarye Police Training School, because I had finished my senior 4, so I was going to join police training school. So when they brought that admission letter, I felt like, in the night, I felt like I didn't sleep. I felt like, how can I decide? My heart remained that I should go to
between the two, the police course
and the Jamia. So my heart said, you have to follow God's plan. So when I talked to Dad, that you see, Daddy, before I had no chance, but as I had applied, they have accepted me. A Christian, he was a Christian. He said, if you feel comfortable with it, you go. There is no problem. You go and learn. If you happen to finish, you can come and we can apply, because he had that chance of being an elder person in the village. So he could let me join if I wanted, even after Jamia. Because I didn't know exactly what is taught at the Jamia, but I knew that I am going to be trained as a preacher. So when he accepted, he promised every support. Though it was a Muslim institution, but he promised total support because my two younger brothers were also Muslims and he was supporting us. So we prepared and they gave me the dates when I will go. They gave me the address and whatever. So I came with the taxi to Kampala. They directed me to Wandegaya. I came to Wandegaya. From there, I found Amir, who introduced me to a certain sheikh, whom I later knew that he was Sheikh Hafiz Ilyas Kisawe. He was teaching at the Jamia, who took me from Kampala to Seta.
So
I found everything new to me.
You were in Jamia.
Yes.
Everything is new to you.
New.
How did you manage life?
It was not easy at all. It was not easy at all. I found there other colleagues who came from Muslim families, and they have traveled for almost a month or 2 months because I came when they have begun the course already. Those who were from Muslim families, at least they knew so many things, because for me I knew Al-Fatha and the Alif Bet only. That's what I knew. So I came. My fellow students were so friendly. They welcomed me. They treated me as a brother, a real brother, even more than those ones from my home.
Okay.
They treated me very well. They started teaching me one by one. I was advised by my principal, Sheikh Yusuf Ali Kaide, that if you want to learn very fast in order to catch up with these people, don't hesitate to attack anybody you see that he can help. Anybody you see that he can help you, please attack him. They will not refuse. So even if it is me.
Your Jamia life.
That was my first Jamia life.
So now we have learned about Jamia now. So after Jamia, how did you find the field? How was your first days into the missionary work?
Yeah, I entered my missionary work fully after finishing the course in 1999. It was October. So I was taken to Ntunda, which was in Kampala zone by then. Yeah, we were still in Kampala zone. Ntunda is a bit far now in Chankwanzu region, very far from Kampala. I was given a bicycle, my mattress and whatever. So I went down there.
Means of your transport.
Yeah, means of transport was a bicycle. So I reached there. The Jamaat was established 3 years ago, but has never received a mu'alim. So they had a grass-thatched small mosque, and I first stayed with a member in a member's house. From there, we built our small mosque of like 16 iron sheets and a small mission house of 10 iron sheets. That was the beginning of my field work.
Very humble beginning.
Very humble beginning.
All right.
But the experience which I found was not simple, as it was a humble beginning. When I was sent there, I was given the task to look after 5 good districts, Ugandan district, 5 of them in Western Uganda, a very huge part. And I was given introduction letters to those district headquarters.
Okay.
Introduction
now
letters.
I'm
going to introduce Jamaat to those districts.
Exercise this?
My brother, it was a big job. One day I went to Chibale district, which was the district of my origin by then, because it's where we had shifted to. My father is there and my mother. I could ride a bicycle for 70 kilometers from Montunda to that place. So I went to the district. Remember, as I told you, the district in 1999, it was only 3 years after those who rebelled the government ran away from villages, and most of the mosques which were there were burnt by Christians. Those rebels. So I went to the district. When I reached the district, Chivale, I didn't know anybody there, but I asked the police officers where the offices are. They directed me where the district office. They had a big building with a corridor between, You could read such and such office, such and such office, such and such office, such and such office. So I went to every office. But before, I first went to the DISO's office. From there, I went to the CAO's office. So when I went to the chairman LC5's office, he was in. He entertained me in. When I introduced him Ahmadiyya and gave him the letter, he chased me. I don't want to see any Muslim here. And I don't want to see any activity of Muslims in my district. Because those Muslims are rebels. They are fighting the government. And you will tell us, who are you working with to destabilize our government? I said, no.
So that was the picture of the Muslims in the
Exactly,
country.
in the country.
And you had to be sacked.
To be humble and explain to him, the man refused totally. He was a Catholic. I don't want anything to do with Muslims. So get out of my office. There, I lost. I lost hope somewhere, somehow. I came out. I first went out straight away, and I went back to my bicycle. I had a small bag which contains my things. I opened it. I had Adiyah to Rasul, a book called Adiyah to Rasul.
Prayers of the Prophet.
Prayers of the Prophet. I got it, and I picked one hadith and one prayer, and I read it again. I had tears coming into my eyes. I said, I have to go back in the office to make sure that these letters, because I will not have a chance to come back again. So when I went back inside the office, I found in the corridor someone who was sweeping. He was well smart, but sweeping. So I greeted him, said, Assalamu alaikum. He looked at me and said, Wa alaikum salam. Who are you and what do you want? I told him my name. I'm Sulaiman Byomuhangi, a sheikh, a missionary from Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, Uganda. You are from Ahmadiyya? Yes, I'm from Ahmadiyya. So why are you here? I wanted to introduce Ahmadiyya to the district officers before doing any activity in the district. That's how we do. We cooperate with the government. So when I explained to him, he said, but for the case of Ahmadiyya, I know, those people, I know them. He told me about Haji Manje, who was my Amir by then, that their family had married a sister to that man. So they had even a smaller daughter of Haji Manje's brother at their place in that district. So he became a friend now, Ahmadiyya friend and Ahmadiyya in-law. So now he said, okay, let me see. I gave. After seeing, he said, so, first leave the chairman aside. We first went to the RDC. The RDC signed and received the letter. It signed both, because I used to go with Copt. The one to remain with the office, and another one I go with, I take it back. The RDC signed. We went to the DISO, he signed. We went to every office signed. When we went to the chairperson again, he refused. The man tried to explain to him, he refused. So I went back without the chairman's permission. But I said, okay, Ya Allah, this is your job. I left there. When I came back home. I finished 2 days, went through I had only converted 2 families which had joined. They were Muslims, but now they had converted to Ahmadiyya. Yeah. So I visited them. I told them what was there. I went back. So after 2 months, I went back again, going home. It's when I found I was targeted as a rebel. There are some people at the village who had wrote to the government that certain man's son went to the rebel because I finished 3 years without coming back home. So when I came, riding a bicycle and whatever, so they wrote that he is now seen.
You are a rebel now.
Now I'm
people's eyes. You are the rebel. How was the situation?
The situation was not favorable at all. Because when I came, once again, I came on Thursday. On Friday, I went to lead prayers in those 2 families. Yeah, to lead Juma prayers. And I went with a friend of mine from my village who was not converted to Islam, but I was trying to preach to him. So he escorted me. We went on the same bicycle. We had our Juma prayer. When we came back, I reached town, our trading center. I found army trucks, tanker, one tanker. I found everything like as in the war is in the village. Staged military and whatever. I didn't know what was going on. I went to Mzei's shop. I greeted him, said, we'll be back. I am back. How was your prayers? I said, everything went well. So let me go home. Because our home was like 3 kilometers from the trading center in the village. So when I was going home, just like 50 meters from the main road, 2 soldiers, one came from this side of the road, another one from this side of the road. The branching road to the home, they stopped me. They told me, you are the son of the other Mzee with the shop. I said, yes. Yeah, if you are the one, give us your documents. I gave them my missionary identity card. They read. After reading, they told me, now you see, we are going to go with you. Remember, I had my small bag with the Quran and the Kitab Swala and the Yasaruna and some bayats. We are going to go with you. Our bosses are there. They want to talk to you. I say, hey, what is it? No problem. Just come with us.
Every kind of ammunition.
Yeah, they had every kind of ammunition. They had food. They have timo, which was to cook. Everything was there. So when I went, I found the bosses with stars. They had rent a room where they had erected a temporary office. So they told me, sit there. Remove your shoes. I put there the shoes. Remove your belt. I asked, am I arrested? They said, wait. You will be told everything. Okay. So after they told me, sit there. I was sitting down. The big man told me, sit on the chair. I sit on the chair. He was seated opposite to me. He asked me, tell me about your life. So I started explaining.
You told him everything.
How I was born, I was grown in the area, I studied this. At the end of the day, I went to Jamia and studied as a preacher of Muslim group or Ahmadi Muslim Association. The identity card, I have it already. I had my bayats and my Quran and my whatever. I put them on the table. After explaining everything, so on the way when I was explaining, when I told him where I was born, he said, so you mean you know Runyankore, a Western Uganda language? So I said, I am from there, I know everything. So he said, please, don't waste your time with English.
Explain everything
in vernacular, in Runyankore. So I told him everything. So he said, okay, don't worry, everything will be fine. But they caught me it was after Asri time. I finished that statement at around 7:30 p.m. So he told me, we are going to stay with you tonight. And tomorrow we are going with you for more investigation. I said, it's okay. But nobody will harm you. They took me to a place of arrest where there were other people who were arrested. They were like 10, some who had their cases. So when those army came, the villagers reported them, oh, this one has done this to me. This one has done this. They got them all. So we stayed in one place which was guarded well guarded because with army. A rebel is there inside. And they told those one who were inside, don't joke with that man.
He's a rebel.
He's a rebel, and you can be bombed, all of you, if you joke with him. I kept quiet. When they put me inside, before they put me inside, they took me to another place for interrogation again. So one police officer who was from Special Branch Office of Police interrogated me severely. After giving him the statement, he said, you have refused to tell us who you deal with to destabilize our country. You will talk. Wait.
So, Sheikh Sab, after these people capturing you, now we are chasing time. How did you manage to come out of that place?
It was also God's plan. So that man, I told him that, okay, if Allah prepared for me that I will die because of that, it's okay, but that's what I know. Okay. So tomorrow morning, it was not morning, it was at around 10 a.m. 4 a.m. So they called us, oh, wake up, we go. To find the truck is already ignited. Everything is on the truck. I was taken with my bicycle, with my whatever, to a distant place where they put me into military Andachi, underground prison. I was there for 3 days, saying my prayers in darkness, asking my Allah to forgive me, but they could get me out, get food, and take me inside. They interrogated me every morning, the same statement I had to give, with trust that Allah will rescue me. After 4 days, they took me back to police. Now the army released me, gave me back to police. So the police had already the information, and on the fifth day, it's when my dad came to see me at the police. He didn't come to the military. Because at the village, they told him that, oh, your son was beaten. He might be dead now. But nobody slapped me, even a slap. So they asked me those questions again. I gave the statement. When daddy came, they asked him. He gave his statement. They asked him, how comes you are a Christian and your son is a Muslim? He told them, Uganda has freedom of worship.
So anybody can go.
Anybody can go where he wants.
So your father was able to take you?
He didn't take me that day. They remained with me, but they told him to come to Wandegaya to call the ones in charge of Ahmadi to come for my rescue. Okay. So when he came and tomorrow he went to Wandegaya. They promised that they are going to come. Okay. Saturday, because that was Friday when he went, Saturday I was there. On Sunday, for the district special branch officer of police released me on pond himself. Because the phones, we had these phones, mobile phones by now. They were not there. The mobile phones were for a few of them were in Uganda. The landline could not reach Kampala. We tried several times, so he released me on police bond. So he told me that you go and bring your officials. So I came, I traveled that night with lorries, I came to Wandegaya. They found me tomorrow morning in the mosque. So where have you come from? I came. So Amir Sahib delegated with me those who will go and introduce Jamaat Ahmadiyya there.
So the Jamaat was able to bring you from there.
Exactly.
As we conclude, can you briefly tell us one brief incident in the field of Tabligh, because we are chasing time right now?
Alhamdulillah. In the field of Tabligh, there are so many incidents I have passed through because I have been in this service for 20 years now. But mostly my experience was in Eastern Uganda. Yeah, there we used to discuss with the Sunnis, Shias and Tabligh Muslims. So when we were discussing, it was like a challenge, but it was also God's plan. We discussed so many issues concerning Tawafatul Isa, Khatama Nabiyin and whatever. So one man asked me, you boy, he was calling me boy because I was young in age, yes. Boy, I said yes. Were you born a Muslim? I said no, I converted to Islam. He said, okay, look now, you converted and you went to non-believers instead of being Muslim, and you have good knowledge about Islam. Then I said to him, if you prove that I have good knowledge about Islam, then how can you think that those one who taught me that knowledge about Islam are kafiris? So the man said, so look at him. I tell you that those are kafiris. Because you were converted, they can't tell you exactly. So I told him, now please, I have time. I can stay with you for more than a week. Tell me what exactly is the true Islam, according to you. So the man didn't tell me even for 1 day. He hadn't even for 2 hours. Okay. Just what he had to say was, oh, you see, these old people does not believe Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I said, no. We believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. If you know the translation, that's it. So he got annoyed because I didn't change to what he wanted. He was very annoyed and he called his friend that, you see, I don't want anybody to talk with this man again. But by God's plan, I left that area, but I could again talk with those people because I used to pass by with my bicycle.
He could
So,
not prevent people from
talking to me. That was my first experience of challenge.
Sulaiman Byomuhangi, as we are out of time, I would request you to have a word or two of advice to our humble viewers.
The advice I can give to everybody who is watching this program is that I wish, as the Muslim would said, that if everything goes well, every family should have a missionary. Every family should have a missionary. Try by all means to groom one child at least in your family and train him so that he can join Jamia, because now Jamia is not just that everybody who has nothing to do has to go to Jamia. You have to train him very severely. Let the boy know, read Yasarna, join Quran, morally upright, so that he can have a chance to join Waqf. Because Waqf is the only service one can do with a contented heart, that I'm serving my God.
Waqf is the only service which one can do with a contented heart, that is serving his Lord. Those were the last words of Sheikh Sulaiman Byomuhangi in today's episode. Our viewers, we would like to be here and hear more of his interesting, inspiring incidents. But time is not always on our side. Until we come your way, allow us to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.
يا عباد الله هبوا ونداء الحق لبوا فاعبدوه مخلصين.